Men and women who go to prison are different, right? Men are violent and mean. Yeah, maybe the women, they can be kind of soft and kind and supportive of each other, but the men, they're not that way. That's the comments I get all the time because I've spent 5 years in federal prison and I share my stories, and a lot of them are the kindness and compassion, the support that I got in prison. One of my friends that I was locked up with, she said, Portia, you know, I never laughed harder and I never cried harder than I did when I was in prison. And there's just a lot of silly stuff that goes on, you know? There's a whole bunch of women all locked up together, right? Also, though, I've met so many amazing men since I came home from prison. I've been home now for 6 years. And my second book, Born to be Brave, is a lot about the men that I met since I came home from prison. And I'll share some pictures at the end. But right away when I got home from prison, I met a guy in the halfway house he was a great big guy, Chris, so strong and supportive and scared. He'd been locked up for 20 years. He was nervous and scared, but he was like, don't you disrespect Miss Portia. He was just so sweet. And then I met my friend Lenny, who was covered in tattoos. He'd had the hardest life, grew up on the streets of Los Angeles. His parents were gang involved. He was in and out of the foster system and boys' homes, abused, ended up addicted to heroin, and came out to Idaho, and he and I met. And you'll see his picture, the most charismatic guy you could ever meet, tenderest heart, sweetest guy. I met my friend Manny, and Manny is, his life has been so difficult, and he's amazing, the things he's overcome. He was in and out of prison 11 times. And now he and I are partners, and he helps people that are leaving prison and that are coming home, and he's amazing. So I was recently at a halfway house talking to a group of men that were all gang members, just leaving prison, and they were covered in tattoos, that stereotypical look, right? And as soon as I said, hi, my name is Portia Louder, and I spent 5 years in federal prison, they all softened. And for about 30 minutes, I shared my stories and my experiences. And at the end, they came up to me and grabbed my hands and said, thank you so much for coming today. I relate to your story. I know where you grew up. That's been my experience with the people that I met in prison. I remember sitting on a bus once with some guys. I was being transported, and they were kind of rowdy. And I said, hey, you guys need to calm down and be respectful if you want me to talk to you. And they all calmed right down. And we had this beautiful conversation. And then together we watched the sun come up. We were all in chains and shackles. And I felt this human moment with these other prisoners. What I've learned about people that are in prison, men and women, is they're all grateful to be treated like they're human. And the connection that we share is beautiful.